Hello, it's March 3rd, and it is my birthday. It was a great day. Started the day getting nice things accomplished work-wise. My family, my guys were wonderful and kind of pampering me with extra cleaning, and we went out and had a lovely lunch with them and my husband's parents, and um, then we had a really cool snowstorm come on. I mean, it was so dense and thick, coming down hard that visibility was very limited. We got a couple inches of really wet, sticky snow, great for snowmen and snowballs and slippery roads. I know some things were canceled throughout the state of Michigan, but our play, the high school play that we had planned to go see and saw this evening, Sound of Music, that still went on, and I had to restrain myself from singing because it's just every one of those songs most of us know. Really good stuff. So great day. Thank you all for your salutations. Boy, I sure felt the love, and Facebook makes you feel so important because you get so many. But thank you so much. And birthdays are truly a blessing. It's a good day for people to take a moment to. It always makes me think of It's a Wonderful Life. Like, what if you were never born? That's how I think of birthdays. So I think birthdays are something that people should really pause, think about how their life has impacted this world, and what a beautiful addition their contributions have been in all of our messiness. We all have contributions. So thank you for my celebrating today. Um, with that being said, we are in our third day of our 40-day initiative, our walk toward Easter, of sharing these Holy Spirit moments, these moments where supernatural experiences happen and they're unexplainable, but they just remind us of how close God is and that He longs for us to be aware of the presence in our life and that very intimate relationship. So remember, you are being encouraged to share your stories. And the best way to do that is tag me, share mine on yours, and use the hashtag Messiah Miracle Moments, hashtag Messiah Miracle Moments, and that hopefully will work to unite us in terms of our stories. And I look forward to hearing yours. I had the blessing today of talking to my brother, which is a nice segue from yesterday's story, because as I touched on, a lot of trauma and passing of people, loved ones, happened during my formative years, just before I was born, between 1965 and 1970. And so as that all came to a close and life started to heal, part of that happened with the birth of my brother. It would be my second brother, with whom I am very close to, very, very close to. And I got to talk to him several times today. He is actually a pilot. He's been in the industry for over 30 years. He resides in Florida with his family, and happened to be in California when I was talking to him throughout the day today. But we have a very close relationship, and we have a lot of conversations about God. And he knew I was doing this program, this initiative toward Easter. And so I asked if I could have permission to share some of his stories. And I'm going to share one tonight and one tomorrow. And it's when we were together. It's a together story. But so if he was born in 1970, he would have been about 5 years old. So this is around 1975. And I would have been about 7 or 8. And we went to church. Our mom was raising us as a single mom, and she would take us to church every Sunday. At that time, we attended a place of worship with a congregation that was a part of the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so not exactly Mormon, a different type of, I don't really know, to be perfectly honest, how similar or different they are. I do know that they used the Book of Mormon and the Doctrine and Covenants, but they primarily used the Bible. And I learned about the Gospels and went to Sunday school and vacation Bible school. They even had a really cool summer camp every year that not just kids went to, but adults went to camp, in there's probably one in every state. They owned quite a bit of property, and it was your typical, crafts and swimming and family and campfire. And so I'm going to go on a tangent here for a moment, but if you haven't seen the movie Jesus Revolution, I highly recommend it. I was very blessed to be able to see um, like a promotional pre-day showing, and there's a story that will come later on as we get closer to Easter, but Michael W. Smith has done an amazing reproduction of We Are One in the Spirit. And for me, the moment I heard that song, it took me back to my childhood and those camp days around the campfire. And we sang that song every time, just like Kumbaya. And you probably, if you grew up with people of faith, it had the same impact. We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. And it says basically, they will know we are Christians by our love. And the way Michael W. Smith's recent release, that is a song that is connected to that movie, Jesus Revolution, the way it's been produced is powerful. And I have to admit, I've listened to it a lot in the last couple weeks. So back to my childhood. So the Holy Spirit moment, that Messiah miracle moment, if you will, that my brother and I had together, happened at church one time. And so the place, the facility where we would go to church every Sunday, we lived kind of in the city, or not city, but in the town. We were from a place called St. Joe, Missouri, and that was near Kansas City, Missouri. And I affectionately like to say, home of the Pony Express and Jesse James. And so in the place where we would go to church every Sunday, it was your pretty typical brick church, if you will, where you walk up the steps and the double doors open, and then you walk into a foyer, and then the sanctuary is right there. You've got your stained glass windows, and straight ahead you've got the pulpit and the organ and a place where the choir would sing. You've got your wooden pews. So one thing about this place of worship is just like John the Baptist taught, they believed in full immersion when you were ready to be baptized, which they kind of reserved for after the age of 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. They just wanted to make sure a child was cognitively able to understand what they were deciding. But they would do full immersion. So behind where like the choir would sing or the pulpit was, it's kind of camouflaged, but they had this full tub that you would walk up around and walk down into and then walk back out again. So it was kind of a really nice big indoor tub that was right up there. Just like I'm sure Baptists kind of have the same thing. So, and then they also believed in blessing babies. So that was part of the responsibility of the congregation to share in the nurturing of children and community and family. So we'd bless babies, and then when people were old enough and chose to be baptized, they would be baptized. Then they would participate with the sacrament of communion and other things like that at that point too. But yeah, we had vacation Bible school and Sunday school and all those kinds of things. I had great times at camp. But on this particular day, the service was over, and if you walked into the building, you would walk up and go into the sanctuary, or you could go off to the side and go down the steps. And below the sanctuary is where the Sunday school classes were. There was a commons area where food was served, and the restrooms and all of that. So this church was small enough that on a nice day, people would just kind of go back out to the sidewalk and congregate and visit before they went back to their cars and went home for the day, for Sunday. And on this particular day, again, my brother was probably about 5. I was about 7 or 8. He remembers vividly that we were running around the sanctuary, around and around and around, up on the stage, I'll call it, but up where the pulpit was, up and down the steps. And he said, at one point, like everybody was out of the sanctuary except us, and we were running around, and we turned around, and there were 3 angels at the back of the sanctuary, and they weren't their whole bodies, they were just the heads. And he said, just vividly, as we've talked about this story, and he remembers that he could tell one was female-ish and the other two were male-ish. But he said he didn't think anything of it. I mean, it was nothing alarming. He's like, you talk about angels in Sunday school. So they just looked at us and they politely and gently said, hey guys, for your own safety, let's not run in church. And it's probably a good idea for you to go outside and go find your parents. And that's all they said. They were smile and, gentle and kind. And it is a very, very vivid memory for him. And it was not human. It wasn't. So that was day 3, Messiah miracle moment, where 2 children who were just being kids, getting a little rowdy in a sanctuary, encountered 3 angels that asked them to be careful, to slow down, to be safe, and to find our parents. And so that's our story for today. I hope you have a great sleep. I've got some other really good stories coming up. I think they're good, but they're life stories that we've had experiences with. One, my brother and I again, and one he let me share that he had, and then it reminded me of another I had. But I encourage you to share too. I'm longing to hear your stories of what's happened, because I know pretty much everyone has. So if you can, be brave. Hashtag Messiah Miracle Moment, or tag me, or share my story if you want to. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.